Yes, please, Dr. Harshita.
What is the reason for hirsutism in PCOS? Is the primary androgen responsible for hair growth is dihydrotestosterone, which is synthesized from testosterone by the activity of 5-alpha reductase type 2. So hirsutism is again a conversion of weak light villus hair into strong dark terminal hair androgen sensitive body areas acting via androgen receptors and secretory factors which increase the growth rate, diameter and melanization of the hair. So how do we evaluate this hirsutism? It is by modified Fermat-Galway score. It evaluates 4 body areas on a scale of 1 to 4. 0 to 4, a minimum score is 0 and a maximum score is 36. 36 implies extensive hair growth. In Caucasian women, we take score more than 8 as a hirsutism. Next, there's a picture. So these are the 9 body areas: upper lip, chin, chest, upper abdomen, lower abdomen, upper arms, thighs, upper back and lower back. So we grade each side from 1 to 4. Next slide. So this is a photograph showing hirsutism in the lower part of the face. Coming to alopecia, again it is a manifestation of hyperandrogenism. Other features usually coexist in this. Next slide. There are 3 patterns in a female: Ludwig, Hamilton, and Oslin pattern. Next slide. This is a photograph. There is a photograph. So the pattern, hirsuit women develop patterns like male pattern, that is frontal precision, front of the hair and on the top of the scalp hair is lost. Diffuse pattern, you find diffuse loss of hair on the top of the scalp, and this is frontal accentuation. It's called Oslin pattern, which looks like a Christmas tree. That is from the vertex to the front of the scalp, front of the forehead, you lose hair, and it looks like a Christmas tree. So next. This is again a photograph showing the male pattern hair loss in a woman. The front part of the hair is lost from frontoparietal hair loss. And this is what I'm talking about, the Christmas tree pattern, frontal accentuation. Women take a center partition and women lose hair there due to hyperandrogenism. Next slide. The next manifestation is acanthosis nigricans. This is a manifestation of insulin resistance, where we see thick, dark, velvety skin on the nape of the neck, axilla, groins, and other frictional areas. This is due to insulin-like growth factor receptor that is present in the epidermis and ovaries gets stimulated, and excess androgen production occurs in the ovaries, resulting in free testosterone in the circulation, resulting in acanthosis nigricans. And usually acanthosis is associated with acrokeratosis. Those are called skin tags. They're mostly common in the frictional areas: neck, axilla, groin, inframammary, and the pendulous abdomen. Usually these patients are obese due to insulin resistance. This is again a picture showing, acanthosis and skin tags. So I've presented acne, hirsutism, alopecia.
Reena, no slide. Sorry to interrupt, Harita. Reena, no slide is visible.
So I'm done. I've presented 5 features, that is acne, hirsutism, acanthosis, and alopecia.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Harita, for such an elaborate explanation.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, this is the one field all the PCOS we treat. Now coming to the cosmetic portion, we always have to dependent on the dermatologist as the patients are
Yes.
very. So that's why my interest to go in the cosmetology field is only that, due to that getting lot of PCOS patients, and for this problem I have to dependent. But so that's why this created an interest in me to start this going in the field of the cosmetology. So
Nice.
yeah. Meanwhile, Reena will start sharing the second case. I want to make an announcement. All the participants who are attending this webinar will get the content, will get the certificate of this attendance. Reena, can you share the link here? Those who are attending can take the certificate also after at the end of the webinar.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So that will be great. So I think already we are delayed. So without wasting time, I am moving to the next case. Reena, please start sharing the slide.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, is it visible? The second
No.
case?
No. Yes, now it's visible. Make it full screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Friends, please bear with us. There are some technical problems. ये कभी-कभी हो जाता है webinars के साथ में. Yeah. So now we are going to discuss the second case. We can take all the question answers later on. Yeah. So there, a girl is presenting to you in the OPD. Yeah, with the age of 20 years, second year engineering student. Age of menarche is 11 years. Presenting complaint irregular periods, last menstrual period 3 months back, facial hair on the upper lip and chin, acne, dark colored skin on neck, complaint of tiredness. On the general examination, patient is overweight, BMI is 30, BP is 130/90. Family histories of diabetes in both the parents, and father is also the history of CAD. Lifestyle, frequently eating out, no exercise, which is very common these days. On the investigations, hemoglobin 13 milligram, TSH is 2, total testosterone is 70, and the normal range in this lab is 20 to 80, LH 15. On the day 2 of period, FSH is 6, and OGTT is also done with a 2-hour testing, 75 grams. And on the ultrasound, it shows reveal the picture of PCOM in bilateral ovaries. Please change the slide, Reena. Yeah. So, Dr. Payal, please enlighten us at what diagnostic criteria you follow for PCOS in the adolescent girls, and how will you manage the irregular periods in this patient?
Okay, so the diagnostic criteria for PCOS for adolescent girls, we consider only Rotterdam criteria. So coming to the how the patient presents, like with irregular menses, evidence of hyperandrogenism, biochemical and clinical both. Then on scan, there's a picture of polycystic ovarian morphology and acne. Then usually the periods, irregular periods, we consider only after 2 years of menarche. So before that, it takes the HPO cycle to settle. So we don't consider that as irregular.
Yeah, this is very important take-home point. After the 2 years of the menarche. Yeah.
After 2 years of the menarche.
Yeah.
So in the Rotterdam criteria, usually for adults we include only 2, but for this adolescent girls we include all 3 criteria. So that is how we diagnose, and it is usually the diagnosis of exclusion. Like we have to rule out all other causes of hyperandrogenism or irregular periods in a patient to come to a diagnosis of PCOS.
Yeah. Next slide, Reena, please. Yeah, next slide. Dr. Payal, will you read this slide for the benefit of all? The criteria for diagnosis. Reena, please make it full screen.
Yeah, so here we have all 3 criteria: NIH, Rotterdam, and Androgen Access Society criteria. So NIH, we must include chronic anovulation and clinical and or biochemical signs of hyperandrogenism. In Rotterdam, 2 of the following 3, like oligo and anovulation, clinical or biochemical hyperandrogenism, and polycystic ovaries on USG. And androgen excess society, we must include ovarian dysfunction, oligo or anovulation, polycystic ovaries on ultrasound, and androgen excess hirsutism or hyperandrogenism. Now, all criteria assume that other causes of androgen excess have been ruled out. Then we come to the diagnosis of PCOS. But as I said, in adolescents, we consider only the Rotterdam criteria. We don't
Next
include the
slide.
other 2 criteria in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a slide that shows that Rotterdam, all 3 criteria we have to include to come to a diagnosis of PCOS in adolescent patients.
Yeah.
Next
slide.
So for diagnosis of PCOS, we need to take great caution before diagnosing PCOS in adolescent girl with clinical features of androgen excess such as hirsutism and biochemical hyperandrogenism if oligomenorrhea has not persisted for more than 2 years post-menarche. Now, these girls can be considered to be at risk of PCOS. That means we have to keep them in follow-up and see how the symptoms or problems they are having. To avoid misdiagnosing physiological pubertal changes as PCOS, defer diagnostic label. Frequent longitudinal reevaluation is beneficial.
Yeah, next slide, Reena.
Coming to the management, the blood test, where free testosterone, increased free testosterone, total testosterone, and decreased FHBG, increased LH. All these tests, they help us to conclude the diagnosis of or support the diagnosis of PCOS. And doing thyroid test or lipid profile and HbA1c, these are to rule out the complications that might occur in PCOS patients like metabolic syndrome or any other insulin resistance, all those things.
Yeah, next slide, please.
And so coming to the pharmacological treatment or how we manage this patient. So usually for all patients of PCOS, diet, first of all, counseling, then diet, exercise, then decreasing the stress level by medication, then proper 8-hour sleep, and staying happy, and no use of plastics. All these are a must. Now, since in this particular patient, she had not had a period since last 90 days. So first, what we have to give is we have to do a progestin to cause withdrawal bleeding. And then we have to add oral contraceptive after she gets a period. So oral contraceptive has high androgen levels as well as high blood sugar also. So we'll have to give her a combination OC pill and then add metformin or myoinositol.
Yeah, next slide, please.
Next slide, Reena.
Dr. Payal, meanwhile, yeah, the role of next. The role of myoinositol for the adolescent PCOS. You please enlighten us.
Yeah, so the role of myoinositol for PCOS patients, the studies are not many on these. So 1 or 2 studies are there which say that it is better than doing metformin to the patients, and like combination of myoinositol with OC pills, it decreases the androgenic effects are enhanced. Then negative impact of OC pills on weight gain is balanced, and metabolic profile is also improved. So it is still in consideration of including the myoinositol in adolescent patients.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Payal. Dr. Payal, just a question of my personal interest. In your private practice, you prefer what? Metformin or myoinositol? Reena se darna nahi hai. We have to give the frank answer. Ki what is giving the good results? Or you want to use the metformin and myoinositol combination? Or what do you prefer for the adolescent groups? Because PCOS is such a vast topic. We can't cover in the 1 hour. It's such a vast topic. So in your practice, you find the good results with what? With Reena, please don't get biased. Huh? We have to give the correct take-home messages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
Dr. Payal, please.
so I do give like OC pills, metformin, and all these medicines I do use for my patients, but for a very short duration. Like if for this kind of patient, like how she has come, so for periods we have to give her like progesterone or OC pills. So what I do is I do use metformin to bring
Okay,
down the
okay.
glucose level, but that is only for 6 months or 1 year. Now, in that 1 year, by counseling and referring her for a nutritionist and a diet, and with everything, she has to be off medicine. That is my like priority. She has to get off all medicines, metformin also, OC pills also, everything. So that is how we manage.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Payal, for a very clear-cut answer, crisp answer. Yeah, Reena, can we take the next slide, please? Yeah, Dr. Ashish?
Yes, question.
Yeah, the next question to you. Yeah. What are the other investigations would you like to do for this patient, and how will you manage the high BP and sugar level in this patient? Dr. Ashish, please unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah, I said thyroid is something which I would want to keep always in my mind whenever it is a lady which is there, whether it's obese or not. TSH is something which we always want to focus on. I believe one of the most, kind of common disease which gets absolutely, unnoticed by most of our clinicians is a thyroid as well as anemia, which goes unnoticed, which we need to address, and that makes the thing situation more problematic, because obviously for general population, thyroid needs to be controlled very well. And a classical thing which we have been talking and teaching to everybody in our college days also, that TSH of 15 and above only we need to treat. Now we have moved on, though still we teach that only, but we have realized that along with the clinical features, we are treating TSH of 7, 8 or even 6 also, and that needs to be taught to our students and everybody out here. I believe you have told a lot of students are here.
Yeah.
So most important, we need to leave our friends and other clinicians is clinical feature supervenes above everything else. If patient is overweight, if there is a kind of hair loss is there, if there are irregular menses, we definitely need to target thyroid 1 and above all. And besides this, definitely we need to do the workup for PCOS, like LH levels and FSH and everything else which goes along with it, the battery of tests which we work on it, and these usually work out. Though I do trust myo-inositol also, I have given to a few of my patients and I feel happy with them using it. Rather, I have realized cocktail therapy usually works in my patients. So I do give them the metformin for sure. Metformin, for the reason it's the cheapest available, easily available, and majority of my patients turn out to be pre-diabetic. So if you ask me, half of us who are sitting here, I wouldn't mind giving them the metformin just to make sure that they are not a diabetic in future, and that works out to be good. So that's what I work on it. Primarily, if you can see here, I have I like giving the academic information. So for that, we suggest that we can give insulin sensitizing agents besides metformin is this thiazolidinediones, but then troglitazone is out of the market. Pioglitazone is the only one which is available, and which I would not promote per se for my PCOS patients. But yes, for weight loss medication, phentermine, sibutramine, or orlistat, they say. But out of this, I think almost most of them are banned. Now only orlistat is available, and which I tell all my patients, if you're having some McDonald's or KFC, take one orlistat. But using it completely to lose the weight probably is not a great idea. And counseling turns out to be the most important thing. Say physical shape is important, and making sure the patient is not emotionally involved, which is a very common thing. So assuring that you give enough time to patient, talk to them, and say that okay, suboptimal results are acceptable, and make sure that your whole family is involved with the management. I think this is what I usually prefer, and by the grace of God, we've got good results.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashish. Dr. Ashish, we are getting some patients of lean thin PCOS also. So any dietary recommendation for that patients? Please enlighten us.
Oh, you've asked a very good question, because I just now have a question on my, cell phone, that 30 years old lady and she's missed periods for 3 months and absolutely ultrasound is normal and everything is fine and she's lean and thin and their thyroid also absolutely fine, and what does she do? So I do understand that yes, lean thin PCOS is a new thing, and besides lean and thin, I think physical exercise is what is most important to be focused for. What happens is we believe if you're lean and thin, you don't need to exercise, and that's where we are completely wrong. If you are physically fit, if you are smarter and beautiful than anybody else, you need to maintain that. You should not be comparing yourself that because I am appropriately zero size and I do not need to exercise. That is a wrong concept. The whole body. So I'll give you an example of calcium. You can keep giving calcium to a patient, and if the person is not exercising, the absorption is not appropriate and the redistribution is not appropriate. That's the same way the body works. The hormone system of the body works well if you're exercising and if you're behaving like a human. If we become a couch potato, then when you have the adipose which are kind of putting up in the waist, that starts producing the adiponectin and other hormones which are harmful for your body. And good business to dermatologists and gynecologists and all of us, but people need to understand that number one and number two is physical activity has to be improved and diet needs to be looked into it very much, and then the metformin which we need to work on it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashish, for such a very crisp answer. So the dietary modification and lifestyle management is the very important in the case of the PCOS. Usually in my practice, once the patient comes in the OPD of this PCOS, the first question they ask, ma'am, hum itne achhe kab dikhenge? When I get my physique back, when I get this good skin and good hair? This is a very common query. So actually I have one presentation on my laptop for the PCOS patients, means that is for the patients. So once the patient asks, the first line of that presentation will start with the quote of this Dr. Abdul Kalam, that I always tell them that dream is not that which you see while sleeping. It is something that doesn't allow you to sleep. So you have to work hard. If you want to get results of the PCOS, not only the medicines will work. You have to change your diet and lifestyle. Yeah.
And also, you need to change the boyfriend also if he can't see you the beautiful.
Practical tip.
I always say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah.
And that is something very important. Change the boyfriend, but don't change the spouse. If somebody can show my last slide, I will be very happy. That will probably communicate what I have tried to put it into a nutshell. Is it possible, Reena, to show me the last but one slide of mine where I have given the acronym? I love giving acronym because I've realized we being a doctor, we found it very tough to remember the mnemonics and the names so many. So we started making the mnemonics or acronyms. But then we realized we forgot what mnemonic was made for which question. You know, that was the usual thing. So I usually make acronym which suits and which we can remember it. I'm waiting for the Reena to show the last but one slide, because that is what is the best one which will communicate the message to everybody. What is the treatment of PCOS besides visiting to the specialist, which is very important. It's a PCOS. And Reena, are you there?
Reena, will you please share that slide?
इतने टेस्टी छोले नहीं खाए मैंने कभी जिंदगी में.
I think there is some technical problem.
Yeah, okay. I think it's come. So this last one will do.
Yeah, okay.
And while we are waiting for the slides, I would want to tell everybody, and probably somehow my clinical practice, I like going by the book at only 30 to 40%. Say it's important that we talk about the PCOD and the evidence-based medicine, but in long term we need to understand what the clinical expertise is all about. By the way, I will just come to this take-home message, and that's what I have told. P is for precaution to prevent the cardiovascular complication in diabetes mellitus. The way cardiovascular complications are increasing and people are becoming diabetics, that's very, very scary. The numbers are increasing very, very fast. To the extent few people get to know that they have 500 or 600 sugars only when they have complications. I'm very sure Dr. Badrinaran will agree. There are few patients who come that on the first day when they have a MI, the heart, when he's ready to put the stent, and in the casualty we find out the patient has got 500 sugars and they never knew before about it. So we need to do precautions to prevent cardiovascular complications and diabetes mellitus. C is consistent lifestyle modification. The word consistent is very important because you cannot, short-term goals do not work. We need to have a good counseling with the patient and explain, look, beta, you need to reduce weight and you need to reduce 10 to 20 kgs of weight. We give them a goal, and that has to be, slowly achieved over the months or the years, and that needs to be helped along with the family members. Because if somebody says, look, doctor has told you don't eat chicken, mutton, and non-veg, and thumbs up and Pepsi, and the whole family is eating that and drinking that, that doesn't turn out. Rather, I know even I will jump in to eat it. So it's become very, very tough. So we all need to involve, the family members. O is obesity management with weight loss plans. At this time, I usually see having those pedometers are very important. Giving them goals is very important. Everybody is carrying nowadays what you call iPhones, or they have the pedometer. So tell them you have to walk at 10,000 steps per day. Don't have your dinner without finishing that. And once you give them the right focus, they actually achieve that. And finally, S is for specific issues to be addressed. Now here comes the role of Dr. Harita and everybody else, or infertility which needs to be met upon. You need to have a child, you need to have a child. You can't afford to delay if you are a particular time or age is over. So you need to have an intervention of the specific, doctor. You got a facial hair, you need to have the specific therapy to be given by the dermatologist and everybody else. So specific issues need to be addressed. Last but not the least, proper sleep. S is for sleep and S is for stress is very important to address in cases like that of, metabolic syndrome, because at the time we don't have a proper sleep, the time we do not have a proper stress management, and then third, if I can add here, the time we are not addressing sexual, interaction in a proper, the 3 S's, you are not addressing the right issue. So this is what I would want to leave as my take-home message to all my viewers out here. And if you can look up to that, I believe you will enjoy your life, whatever be the weight is and whatever goals you have achieved. That is not, the goals are to be kept in mind, but the achievement should be the happiness and the satisfaction of a patient. I think I will leave at that point.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashish. Reena, please change the slides. Reena, we can finish this case now, though we have exceeded the time. It's already 4:20. So meanwhile, Reena adjusting the slide. The Badri sir, I want to know your opinion regarding what effect family history of diabetes and heart disease on this patient. What is the lifestyle modifications you will advise to this patient?
See, family history, diabetes already known as the diabetes doctor already spoken. He said that
Yes,
it's autosomal dominant region. But one parent suffer from diabetes, half of the children will suffer. If 2 parents are suffered, maximum will suffer. So this is the sequelae of the diabetes. So you have to take care of the diabetes not only by diet, drugs, and exercise, I already told. And diabetes itself twice the risk of everything. And then hypertension. Hypertension also, it is genetic, not a proven variable. But when the parents are suffering from hypertension, Definitely, this is the property, both diabetes and hypertension, usually heredited to the vertical transmission is there. People are suffering. It may not give normal properties, but diabetes and BP and heart disease you will give to your children to suffer rest of their life. So on the whole, as a from pathophysiology, you know, the main elements is insulin resistance leading to diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, obesity, stress, sleepless, mood disorders, and some mild acne, skin manifestation, or general manifestations. So on the whole, we see three age per MI, PCOD patients will 7 times more prone for the MI. On the whole, 3 times more the risk of diabetes, heart disease, twice the risk of anxiety, depression, and drug use, twice the risk, drug means for various reasons for sleep disorder, mood disorders, other to sleep like, twice the risk of hospitalization for any cause, 10 times the risk of the infertility. That your job, I think, in that section. But my job is how to reduce the cardiovascular disease. You know, in addition to our traditional drugs, like, you know, antiplatelet, aspirin, beta blocker, SE inhibitors, and lipid drugs, these are all protocol and guideline directed therapy. For the PCOD specific drugs are not specifically mentioned. Only for hypertension it is told that you may, the mineral corticosteroid antagonists like spironolactone you can start, or SE inhibitor is preferred for the management of hypertension. What is missed by ASIS, I just added to that. Diabetes is cleared. CB protection, I told already there are few drugs. Last remain many of the lifestyle modification. Next slide,
Next
please.
slide, Rina, next slide.
See, lifestyle modification for any person, basic, the six headlines. One is, I will come to this slide later on. One is no smoking. A single piece of smoke also papam, means hazardous.
Next slide, Rina.
Be there. I'm just speaking only. Be there slide. Yeah. Smoking. Next is diet. I come to the diet. The diet for any, from cardiovascular protection point of view, it's also management of PCOD cases. A patient already having dyslipidemia in this disease, those who are having more LDL, low HDL, and high triglycerides. So you have to take low cholesterol diet, low saturated fatty acid diet, high fiber diet, low salt intake, because you are suffering from hypertension. These are diet recommendation. The diet I am showing. Second, third is alcohol. No is better. At best, moderation. Earlier, Dr. Ashish already told, though moderation in alcohol says protection for the heart is a class 2 intervention, but Indian studies says not a single drop is safe for Indian population. Then physical inactivity. You know, you may not be obese, but physical inactivity is also bad. So how much you will be active? Medium type aerobic work, active life for a half an hour, and most of the days in a week is advisable for everybody. The moderate activity means you can have a slow brisk walking, cycling, jogging, and swimming. Then comes the obesity. This PCOD patient usually with the apple-shaped obesity. If general obesity is a risk factor for coronary disease, if apple-shaped obesity is a special risk factor for coronary disease. Last, with the stress, already told, stress any form, physical, mental, social, is a stress for cardiovascular disease. And at best, you can yoga, anything helpful, you can try. From first slide, madam, diet slide, you can come back. This is stress, yeah. Yes. See, these are the diets which are bad. You should not eat. Though it looks very lucrative and attractive towards them, try to avoid. Next. See, these are the high salt content diets. Should also avoid. Namkins, Haldiram namkins, papads, everything should try to avoid. To want to have a low salt diet, to avoid hypertension, to have less cardiovascular disease. Next. What can you do? Eat for a healthy heart. He already told by words, eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, try to eat varieties of fruits, and veggies a day. Choose whole grains. Eat fish, especially sea fish, oily fish. Limit your intake of saturated and trans fats. Limit the amount of red meat you eat. Choose lean meats. Next. Choose low-fat dairy product like skim milk, low-fat yogurt. Limit your intake of beverages and food with added sugars. Learn about sodium in common foods that have too much of it. Compare food labels and choose the food with the least amount of sodium. You can take here added potassium content food you can take in moderation. If you want to take snack, go to nuts, saving size in a small handful or 1.5 ounce of whole nuts. Drink water instead of sugary drinks. Try adding slides or fruits to beverages sweetening with sugars. Did you know 10 ounce, 12 ounce of soda can contain 8 teaspoonful of sugar? 1 teaspoon means 5 grams. So 40 grams of sugar in 12 ounces of soda you have. Be aware that. Please next slide. See, I told our inactive life. Should I be active? Moderation, 30 minutes per day, most of the days in a week. That will help you not only weight control, you can have a structured program, take a exercise specialist concern, you can proceed. Next. Women's begin with you, not with anybody. Then the family talks. Counseling, different sittings, different plans, you have models, you have to ask the patient to adapt and continue what Dr. Ashish told. Consistency is required to maintain to avoid inactivity and to maintain a lean body weight. Next. What can you do? American artist told already 30 to 60 minutes, but Indian 30 minutes all the weeks is okay. Exercise to blood cholesterol, blood, diabetes, obesity, and blood pressure also will control. Next. Smoking, I told, not a personality, for a personality purpose, or ego purpose, or stress purpose is not acceptable, not a cigarette per day. I told the worst habit is smoking, worst disease is diabetes. Both things for a man, more which are common for men, the ladies should not adapt to this. But now in UK, lady smokers are outnumbering the male smokers. They are a special threat for cardiovascular disease. Next. See, I told no, single smoke, single puff was bad. Next. And one more adding I'm thinking for smoking, not only the smoker, the passive smoker who sits beside you is potentially more at risk than the smoker because he is unable to exhale the smoke. That's why this passive smoker also is equally or more prone for cardiovascular disease. Next, obesity. You know body mass index how much to keep, less than 25. And if you want the Apple's obesity, waist conference, you say lady should keep less than 35 inches, male less than 40 inches. And you can maintain what is the ideal weight. The ideal weight reduction, how to weight. See, weight you cannot be reduced over a day. It should be planned, structured. 10% of weight reduction over 6 months. Then this is the recommendation by American Heart Association. Decrease calories, what you are taking, 300 to 500 kilocalories per day. That will give this much of target. So this is the weight reduction program. How is the diet? What is the diet you take? I already told every diet should contain less than 30% of fat, 50 to 50% carbohydrate, 15% protein. As means other micronutrients you can add. This is the diet composition. You can consult a dietitian for your structured diet program per day. Next. Stress. See, handling stress is very important. Again, I told economic stress, corona stress, physical stress, social, mental, everything is a risk factor for cardiovascular disease. In this corona area, it is a special stress for doctors, not only disease, but the personal prone for the disease. Next. See, sometimes yoga may help. I can recommend, but not strongly recommend. The yoga practice varies. Who may benefit, may not benefit. Only there is a feeling of tranquility. So how you do yoga, you try to get a yoga specialist and how you adjust to the practice. Next. See, how can we heart disease risk? Manage diabetes, blood pressure, high cholesterol through living a healthy lifestyle. Take medicine if prescribed by a registered practitioner or a doctor. Next.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
Badri sir. You
Yeah.
want to add something?
No, this is the art.
Yeah.
In addition to your management of PCOD specific disease, cardiovascular protection, if needed, specific cardiovascular treatment as per the presentation angina, MI, that I didn't want to include it and to burden you. Like, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you, Badrinarayan sir, for such an elaborated answer. Friends, as already we have exceeded the time, so now next questions I want a very crisp and to the point answer. Reena, can we take 2-3 questions also now? So Dr. Shravan, the next question to you: what is the ultrasound criteria for reporting a case of PCOM versus PCOS? Dr. Shravan, can you hear
Yes,
us?
I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Interesting and a tricky question to be
Yeah.
answered. Considering it as a morphology, okay?
Yeah.
How do the radiologist report? And what has to be mentioned? Firstly, the volume and the number of follicles. The initial criteria of reporting has superseded the redundant criteria of more than 12 follicles.
Yeah.
Now it states that around 24 to 25 follicles in each ovary. And even a presence of single multifollicular ovary is sufficient to provide the diagnostic criteria for PCOS. And how do you report PCOM and PCOS? See, as a radiologist, yes, you give it as a diagnosis of PCOM, stating that polycystic ovarian morphology. But as a clinical radiologist, if you have taken the clinical history as well, as most of the people know, PCOS is a syndrome where hyperandrogenesis, oligo or anovulation are considered with the polycystic ovaries of the ultrasound. Any of the two criteria are to be present. So if you have taken the clinical history that correlates, yes, you can give it as consider the possibility of polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yeah, thank you so much. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
one more
Yes,
thing
ma'am.
is one should know in the report they should mention the number of follicles and the volume of the ovary for the diagnostic criteria.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Shravan, for such an elaborated answer and very crisp to the point answer. You made that slide very nice, the differentiation between the PCO and multifollicular ovary, very nice. Yeah, now the question to Dr. Harita. Dr. Harita?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, please tell us how will you manage this patient?
Yes. Next slide. So this patient has acne hair on the upper lip and chin, and pigmented skin on the neck. So that is acanthosis nigricans. Coming to acne, I would like to give an oral contraceptive pill which has ethanol estradiol cyproterone acetate, which is an anti-androgen, because these are the manifestations of androgens. That is acne hirsutism. And a face wash, some topical creams, topical antibiotics, and retinoids. And if they are infected, the stage of acne is not mentioned whether it's mild, moderate, or severe. If it is a moderate and severe, I would like to add antibiotic as well. Coming to hirsutism, again, anti-OC pill containing an androgen, anti-androgen like CPA or spironolactone, efflora cream, I'll come to that later, and laser hair reduction.
Next
And
slide, Reena. Reena, next slide, please. Yeah.
And acanthosis nigricans, as Dr. Ashish said, it is metformin. I usually prefer metformin, and topical retinoids, which will reduce the thickening of the skin. So this slide may be useful to a gynecologist. So Second slide, please. Second slide. Second slide. Yes, yes. Hold on. So oral contraceptive pills, you people know better than me what to choose as a gynecologist. An anti-androgen CPA is my favorite, and antibiotics you can go with the tetracycline, like a doxycycline, or a macrolide like azithromycin. And retinol is oral isotretinoin is severe non cystic acne, and this part of acne you have to send it to us. You cannot manage nodular cystic big acne. Then topical, if you want to give any topical medication, please give a topical antibiotic like nadifloxacin or clindamycin, and give a mild retinoid, that is adapalene and retinoid, and benzoyl peroxide.
Sorry to interrupt you, Harita. Voice is echoing a lot. Reena,
Echoing
can
a
you please
lot?
check?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
So, and add a face wash containing
Yes.
salicylic
Now it's
acid.
clear. Now it's clear, Harita. Dr.
Now
Harita voice is. Yes, yes, yes. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Diet
Yeah.
containing low glycemic index diet. Avoid dairy products. And peels and lasers. Again, I will elaborate. So, do you want to tell me about the hormonal therapy in detail? Or-
No, you tell us about
Next slide.
detail. No, you tell us detail about this, your laser. Hormone therapy we will manage. Let
Okay,
that
sure.
gynecologist, let that will be in the gynecologist hand.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, for regarding the peels and laser, you tell us little bit.
Peels.
Yeah,
Peels are usually prefer salicylic acid peels.
okay.
Salicylic acid will exfoliate the skin. Actually, you need to know the stages of acne. Acne is hormonal imbalance, which leads to increased sebum production. Increased sebum production and ductal hypercornification. The sebaceous gland gets cornified and more proliferated. As a result, pores get clogged. And you get blackheads and whiteheads, what are called as closed and open comedones. As a result, inflammation occurs, which again leads to
Oh, Dr. Harita, voice is echoing. Please take the mic nearby. Your voice is echoing a lot. Dr. Harita?
Am I okay?
Yes, yes. Reena, meanwhile, Dr. Harita is connecting. There are again lot of queries regarding for share the link for the certificate. Akshita,
Yes.
are you there?
Yes.
So please share the link.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. We have already shared the link.
Please share it once
Okay.
again. So many doctors
Okay,
are
okay.
writing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Harita, please continue. Regarding the peel, you are telling us, you are telling regarding the Sally peel. So how frequently we have to do that Sally peel?
The Sally peel once in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Peels are done once in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. And tell us regarding the use of the laser. Laser
Coming
for
to
the,
yeah. Actually, there is no age restriction to laser. Above 16 years, if the child's parent is okay, we can go ahead with the laser. There's no contraindication for but you need to start anti-androgen therapy before starting the laser. There's no point in doing laser in hormonal imbalance. So usually give them an anti-androgen containing OCP, then start of doing the laser. So what is a laser? Please go on to the laser slide. Next. Next slide, please. Laser is nothing but light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. That is, laser emits a light which is converted to heat that is absorbed by a pigment called melanin in the hair follicle that acts as selective photothermolysis. So laser acts only on dark, thick hair. So it can be best given in hirsutism. Fine villous hairs, as the melanin content is less in villous hair, the uptake of laser is less. So if you get a case of coarse, thick hair, then laser is a good choice. Again, laser is done once in a month, and it varies depending upon the body part. On the face, once in a month; on the body, once in 1.5 to 2 months. There are different combination lasers: diode, alexandrite, long pulse Nd:YAG, and long pulse Nd:YAG is good in pigmented skins like dark colored people.
Yes, Dr. Harita.
Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. Dr. Harita, there is one query. Once you advise the patient for this hirsutism, especially for this upper lip and for the chin, the laser. So how frequently patient has to take the sessions? And is the chances of the recurrence also? Though we control the androgen, the testosterone level, we control by giving the hormones. Still, you have find in your clinical practice some cases.
Yeah, if there is absolute hormonal control, the laser gives a very good result. It's laser hair reduction. Complete hair removal is not possible. One has to remember that it's only reduction. You find fine hair left out, like 10% to 5% hair is always there.
Okay, thank you so much. But you have seen some cases that again after 2 years or 3 years, again they have to come for this laser therapy, or you give in some time interval. How you call the patient for the follow-up?
See, in the beginning, the interval is very less, session to session. As the sessions exceed, the hair growth comes down. So sometimes people come once in a year, once in 6 months, and until they feel okay. And we really tell them to stop. It is we who stop them to come for the treatment, because patients always want zero hair on their face, but which is not possible.
Agreed. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr.
Laser will act on the hair bulge of the hair follicle. So it destroys the hair bulge area which produces the hair. So laser now is an advanced technology. There is a quadruple wavelength laser with 4 types of wavelengths, and it is the best. You get amazing results with that laser. It's called quadruple wavelength.
Okay. Is that laser treatment is something more costly compared to the normal laser? What you are giving?
Actually, in India, I'm the first one to launch that laser.
Great, Dr. Harita. Congratulations for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I don't charge much. I charge equivalent to any other laser.
Okay. Dr. Harita, as you mentioned in your earlier slides also, that along with the hirsutism, we have seen the patients of PCOS with this alopecia. The 3 types of alopecia also you have shown in your slide beautifully. So what treatment you will advise for these patients for alopecia? Along with biotin supplements, anything else specifically?
Yeah, we give biotin, that is biotin tablets, vitamin D, minoxidil can be given.
Yeah.
Minoxidil.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, because these days we have seen this vitamin D is associated with all the etiologies. Even in the PCOS patients, we find that vitamin D is very less. So in my practice, so we give routinely vitamin D to every patient. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Even with growing inflation also, vitamin D is directly related. So we have to understand vitamin D is everywhere.
Yeah, vitamin D is everywhere.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Ashish, for adding this practical point. I think we have finished up with the questions. Dr. Payal, you want to add anything? Dr. Payal?
Yeah, I would want to say that it was really very nice, and everybody's presentation was very nice, and Dr. Ritu coordinated it very well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Payal. Friends, let me share this program is the brainchild of Dr. Payal. She incorporated and Reena approached me to join here. So thank you, Reena. Thank you, Acumentus. Thank you, Dr. Payal. Due to you, I have got so many.
Interesting.
Due to you, I got so many new friends. Dr. Ashish, Dr. Harita, Dr. Shravan, Badrinarayan sir. They all are added in my friend list. Thank you so much. I think for the certificate, again, you can contact the Reena those who have attended this webinar. So I
Yes,
think,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I think we will wind up with this. So thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Dr. Ritu.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, had a nice time. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay, okay. Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
How do we log out?
Ma'am, just close the window. That Chrome window you have to close and it will.
Either